Iranian military says it has closed the Strait of Hormuz again over Israel's attacks on southern Lebanon. Iran said Israel's continued attacks in Lebanon are a breach of Tehran's agreement with the US to end the war.
Bogota, Colombia. He had the look of a middle-aged schoolteacher. His back seemed slightly sloped, a grey cardigan hung from his shoulders, and a pair of glasses were perched atop his nose. But as Ivan Cepeda waded through the crowds at a surprise rally on June 3 in downtown Bogota, young supporters thronged to see him.
The growing rift between the United States and Israel hit new heights this week, with articles published in major Israeli publications accusing President Donald Trump of abandoning Israel to its greatest following his interim deal with Iran.
Analysts described a sense of betrayal as public and political outrage over the terms of the agreement, which details the broad terms for ending the joint US-Israeli war on Iran-dominated headlines.
Bolivian President Rodrigo Paz has declared a state of emergency, which gives the military the power to remove blockades that have disrupted food and fuel supplies. Barricades that have been erected on key roads have effectively isolated the administrative capital, La Paz, after a wave of protests calling for Paz to step down over austerity measures have brought the economy to a halt during the past 50 days.
John Jumper, who shared a recent Nobel Prize in chemistry, announced Friday that he's making the leap to Anthropic after nearly 9 years at Google DeepMind. In a post on X, Jumper wrote that DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis took a real chance letting me lead the AlphaFold team just 6 months after finishing my PhD. And the entire GDM team taught me so much about how to do great science. The government has withdrawn its earlier decision to temporarily reduce speed limits on motorways and national highways, restoring the previous limits for all categories of vehicles. According to Motorway Police spokesperson Syed Imran Ahmed, the speed limit for cars and other light vehicles on motorways has been restored to 120 kilometres per hour, while passenger and heavy transport vehicles will once again be allowed to travel at up to 110 kilometres per hour.
Islamabad. The Senate Secretariat has terminated all fuel conservation and additional austerity measures with immediate effect and will return to a regular 5-day work week with full staff strength from June 22. Monday, the rollback comes following a US-Iran deal and a subsequent reduction in fuel prices. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni fired back at US President Donald Trump on Saturday, saying his constant unprovoked attacks are senseless, after he escalated a diplomatic row by accusing her of repeatedly seeking a photograph with him. The clash has opened an unusually personal rift between Trump and one of Europe's most prominent right-wing leaders, who had sought to cast herself as a bridge between Washington and the continent during Trump's return to power.
Bolivian President Rodrigo Paz has declared a state of emergency after weeks of protests demanding his resignation. The move would give Paz broader powers to clear roadblocks by demonstrators, which have caused serious shortages of basic goods and paralysed large parts of the nation.
United States President Donald Trump has doubled down on criticism of Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, claiming she repeatedly sought photo opportunities with him at the recent G7 summit to bolster her domestic popularity. Trump's latest comments in a post on Truth Social on Saturday deepen a personal row between Trump and the right-wing top allies leader, who was long viewed as one of the US president's top allies in Europe.
Chinese AI company Z.AI has released GLM 5.2, a 753 billion parameter open-weight model designed for autonomous coding and long-running engineering tasks. The model supports a stable 1 million token context window and is available through Hugging Face, Z.AI's API, and more than 20 third-party coding tools.
Well, Chinese memory chips are beginning to enter mainstream RAM products as local manufacturers expand production and global demand from artificial intelligence data centers puts pressure on memory supplies. Several Chinese memory vendors have reportedly shifted towards domestic suppliers, such as Changxin Memory Technologies, better known as CXMT.
Rockstar Games has confirmed that pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto 6 will begin on June 25. Players can already add the game to their wish list on the PlayStation Store and Microsoft Store to receive a notification when pre-orders become available.
Gilgit. PPP supporters block the Karakoram Highway. KKH in Diama in protest after the Election Commission notified independent candidate Imam Malik on Friday night, allegedly without preparing Form 49 or counting postal votes in this constituency. Supporters of PPP candidate Atullah Khan, who contested the GBA 16 Diama 2 election, blocked the KKH at multiple locations in Chilas. The blockade began around 10 a.m. on Saturday and remained ongoing as of Saturday evening. US President Donald Trump has hit out at Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, repeating his claim that she asked over and over for a picture of them together at the G7 summit this week. In a post on Truth Social, Trump also accused her of not supporting US efforts to deny Iran from obtaining or developing a nuclear weapon.
An unauthorised alert bearing a mysterious message that was sent to cell phones in several states across Brazil on Saturday morning is suspected to be the work of hackers. The Brazilian government said devices lit up with the word misanthropy 4, an alphanumeric spelling of the Portuguese word misanthropia, which in English translates to misanthropy. The final letter A was substituted with a number 4, a practice often used by hackers and termed leet speak.
Wife of Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has been barred from travelling abroad as she prepares to face trial on corruption charges. Investigating Judge Juan Carlos Peinado issued the ruling on Saturday, ordering Sanchez's wife, Begona Gomez, to hand in her passport and appear in front of court twice per month until a verdict is issued. She is charged with embezzlement, influence peddling, corruption in business dealings, and misappropriation of funds.
At least 9 people remain in critical condition after 2 passenger trains crashed into each other and killed 1 driver near Bedford, about 56 miles, 90 kilometres north of London. British Transport Police said on Saturday that more than 80 people had received hospital treatment on Friday night after the trains collided. While Apple's new Siri AI and Apple Intelligence announcements dominated the WWDC spotlight earlier this month, the tech giant also packed iOS 27 with a number of upgrades across its everyday apps and services, including smarter bill splitting in Apple Wallet, new ways to share locations in Find My, and improved Apple Maps features. Apple introduced an improvement to Flyover, the feature that provides immersive 3D views of cities and landmarks. The feature has been refreshed with more detailed visuals and smoother navigation.
The IT Ministry on Saturday clarified that a bill seeking amendments to telecommunication laws does not propose compulsory acquisition of private land. The Pakistan Telecommunication Reorganisation Amendment, Bill 2026, which seeks changes to a 1996 Act and was tabled by IT Minister Shahza Fatima Khawaja, was approved by the National Assembly on June 11th by a majority vote. It is currently pending before the Senate Standing Committee on IT and Telecommunication, where it was referred on June 15. At least 30 people have died since the start of May in one camp for displaced civilians in northeastern Congo, a death rate that camp officials said was unprecedented, with some confirmed to have died from Ebola, in a sign the disease could be spreading fast there. It was not possible to confirm the causes of all the deaths because patients or their relatives in Kigon's camp in Bunia, the epicentre of the Ebola outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, had until Thursday refused testing, a camp spokesperson and aid organisation Caritas said.
The Foreign Office. Foe on Saturday announced that technical-level talks, as a follow-up to the signing of the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding, MoU, will be held in Bürgenstock, Switzerland on Sunday. Thursday proved to be a red-letter day for Pakistan, as the country awoke to news of a long-awaited peace deal finally being signed between the US and Iran, heralding an end to the bitter animosity that has afflicted the Middle East and plunged the world into crisis for months.
British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper has condemned remarks by Israel's right-wing National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who posted all of Lebanon must burn after 4 Israeli soldiers were killed in a Hezbollah attack. In a post on X on Friday, Cooper said the comments were horrendous and abhorrent.
Tehran, Iran's supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei's reservations about his country's interim peace deal with the United States have emboldened the country's hardline political grouping, which opposes any concessions with Washington. Iran's new supreme leader appears to have handed responsibility for the deal over to President Masoud Pezeshkian, a relative moderate who is now under fire from a more hardline camp that believes war with the US could restart soon.
A team of 9 researchers at Sina Weibo has introduced VibeThinker 3B, a compact language model that reportedly matches much larger systems from Google DeepMind, OpenAI Anthropic and DeepSeek on several reasoning schmaltz. The 3 billion parameter model scored 94.3 on AIM 2026, matching the performance range of DeepSeek v3.2, which has 671 billion parameters, and beating Gemini 3 Pro's score of 91.7.
A strike by public transport operators in Karachi will continue after talks with police broke down, the head of a transporters union said on Saturday. The wheel jam strike has been observed in the metropolis since Thursday against electronic traffic challenges, heavy fines and other regulatory measures.
2026 World Cup will have 13 different kickoff times. You can use the Al Jazeera Sport widget to find out exactly when your team is playing in your local time. Who's Spain versus Saudi Arabia? What FIFA World Cup 2026 Group H match where Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta? When? Sunday, 12 p.m. local time, 16 GMT. How to follow? We'll have all the build-up on Al Jazeera Sport from 13 GMT in advance of our live text commentary stream.
Top Ukrainian officials have said they are returning Polish awards after President Volodymyr Zelensky was stripped of Warsaw's top honor in a dispute between the Allies over World War II massacres. Zelensky's chief of staff, Kirylo Budanov, Ukraine's ambassador to Warsaw, Vasyl Bodnar, and Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha said on Saturday they would relinquish awards bestowed by Poland. Residents of Islamabad can now register births, marriages, deaths and divorces through the Pak ID mobile application without visiting Union Council offices, the Capital Development Authority, CDA, announced. The facility has been launched in collaboration with NAD-RR and the Metropolitan Corporation's Islamabad MCI and is available across all Union Councils in the Islamabad Capital Territory.
Solar panel prices have started declining in Lahore, with rates falling by 4,000 to Aras, 9,000 for different panel categories. According to market sources, traders attribute the decrease to the recent cut in petroleum prices and expect solar equipment to become even cheaper in the coming weeks if fuel prices remain stable.